Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is a cooking video and the vegetable that we're speaking of is broccoli rabe, which is actually a superfood. I realized after doing my research on it, between the vitamins, the minerals, and also the fact that it's full of fiber and healthy for you. So let me begin by saying broccoli rabe is loaded with vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin E, and also vitamin K, along with some essential minerals, which are potassium, magnesium, and calcium. And the other fact about broccoli rabe is that each cup cooked has very low calories, along with each gram of carbohydrate that's in broccoli rabe, there's an equal gram of fiber. So if you happen to follow a low carb diet and you count net carbs, the carb count is canceled out because each gram of carb has an equal gram of fiber. So that wipes it out and it provides a sense of fullness because it's high in fiber. So those are some of the interesting facts about broccoli rabe in terms of the nutrition. But broccoli rabe is a delicious vegetable and it can be prepared in a variety of ways, and the way that I like to prepare it at home. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how easy and simple it is to prepare one of nature's most awesome superfoods, and that is broccoli rabe. Come on and let's get into it. So for our ingredients for today's recipe, which is simply broccoli rabe and garlic and oil, and preferably olive oil. So I have 2 bunches of organic broccoli rabe. I have 1 bulb of garlic, and I have 2 types of olive oil. I have one that I use to saute with, and that one is especially for sauteing and grilling. And then I have my finishing olive oil, which happens to be an organic one from my mother's home in Bari, Italy. So let's get into it. So what you're going to want to do is basically you take a look at the broccoli rabe and the stems. You see how big those stems are on the end? I personally don't like the thick, heavy stem, so I cut a lot of it off. I know my mother would have a fit if she ever saw it. She'd be screaming. But I like to cut about that much off. So it might be kind of, some people might say it's wasteful, but I don't. This is kind of tricky to chew, even when it's cooked. It's stalky. But anyway, I throw that out. Take the other bunch, same thing. You get that stalkiness out. And then you won't believe how easy this is. And then what we're going to do is we take the 2 bunches of broccoli rabe and rinse them in some cool water right over here. Give it a good rinse. Then, so basically what you're going to want to do in this pan, this decent sized saucepan, is that you are going to want to heat up some cooking olive oil. And I would say this is about 3 tablespoons. And no doubt I will put all of these measurements in the description down below this video. So here's my tricky piece to this. For many of us that hate when we touch garlic and our hands reek for hours afterwards, there's a couple of different tricks. But the first trick I'm going to show you is that this bulb of garlic is going to be, I'm going to take all the wrapping off of this without really touching it. I mean, I will eventually touch it, but it's not going to be what it would be if I didn't do this trick. So I take the hammer, just like this. I got to watch out. It's a glass top stove. I don't want to break it. And just bang on the bulb of garlic. Give it a good bang. Don't be afraid. Let all your frustrations out on that garlic. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, be careful. What we have is, you'll notice popped away from the skin. So this is basically the goal. You want to have your garlic separated from the skin into the natural whole cloves that they are. And they do pretty much come free easily without really getting garlic all over your hands. So I basically like to take pretty much the whole bulb of garlic. And what I do is right now I'm going to put the heat on this, medium. Remember, olive oil burns at 400, so you want to be very careful when you use olive oil, especially in cooking. On the stove is much more difficult to measure the temperature than it would be in the oven, because at least when you use the oven you can tell what the temperature is, but on the stove it's a little tricky. And we're using all of this garlic to go into the pan with the olive oil. You're gonna pretty much what's going on. Let's see, I got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's perfect. So I have 8 whole cloves of garlic, and okay, so I have 2 that have a little bit of skin. So I just peel those like that, and it alleviates all that chopping and stuff. I'm not really a fan of chopping garlic. All right, I'm lazy, but it's not even so much about that as it is the smell. But when you do chop garlic and you do have the smell on your hands, it is tricky to get it off, but there's a trick. All you do is take the back of a stainless steel spoon and glide it over your hands under running cold water. And there's some chemical reaction that happens and cancels the smell of garlic. Try it. But anyway, so we're getting this olive oil nice and hot, and we're basically taking our beautiful bulbs, not bulbs, but our beautiful cloves of garlic, and we're gonna saute them. Okay, I hear the oil's popping, so I'm just gonna put those into the olive oil and get it a nice saute on that. And then back over here with our broccoli rabe, I'm just going to cut these into 1.5 to 2 inch pieces. So this ended up being four cuts or scores. And I'll show you how cool it is once we get the oil set and we get the saute on. So we have 4 cuts, and this is going to end up making it really nice bite-sized pieces. So we got the olive oil going with our garlic cloves in there. Like I said, that's about 8 out of a bulb of garlic. And then we're going to put our fan on. There's nothing quite like the smell of garlic sauteing on the stove. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. And by the way, if you're like me and you misplace your tops to your pots, there's another easy trick. And you got to figure things out when you're in the kitchen and you don't have everything right at hand. You got to improvise. So this is what we do when we misplace the top to the pot. I take Reynolds wrap 1, 2, 3, and that makes my instant top. Oh, we got this bubbling and crackling and everything. So I move it away, lower the heat, and give it a good stir. Yeah, so that's ending up looking good. This looks really good. Garlic is sauteing over here. And it's so interesting because when I did my research on broccoli rabe, I was so impressed by the nutrition facts, between the calories, between the carb count with the fiber count and the reduction, and then the equaling out of the net carbs as a result of subtracting your fiber from your gram count of carbohydrates is how you get the net carb, which is basically for every, so if you have, let's say for example, 10 grams of carbohydrates in something, and there's 6 grams of fiber. All you do is subtract the 6 grams of fiber, and then you'll have 4 remaining, which will be your total net carbs. In case you didn't know, that's how easy that is. So we've got our garlic pretty nice and toasty. I like to get it a little slightly brown. Give it like a good browning. But be careful not to burn it, because you don't want that. So we're going to take the broccoli rabe, and we're going to gently place it after, of course, we rinsed it. We're going to put it in the pot. Now, the water that comes from rinsing it is really adequate to kind of steam it in the pot. Place the rest of the broccoli rabe up on top. And then what you want to do is lower the heat. Get it to a little bit less than low. And if your stove doesn't allow you to do that, just put it on as low as you can get it. Because basically what you're going to do is you're going to end up simmering this. And I'm going to put it on for 10 minutes. And here's the thing. When it gets to 5 minutes, when we have 5 minutes left, you take a set of tongs and you flip the broccoli rabe. Here are my tongs. So basically, in 5 minutes, I'll see you back. Okay, you guys, so we're back after 5 minutes. You got your handy timer going. You take the lid off. And now we're basically going to turn or flip over our broccoli rabe. It was 5 minutes on low heat. And here's the thing. If you like your vegetables al dente or tender, give it less heat. If you like them softer, cook it longer, give it more heat. It's all depending upon what your preference is. And here's another thing that I want to say to you about when you're cooking. This was a nice volume of broccoli rabe, so it might take a little longer than another batch of broccoli rabe that it's less volume. So what I'm going to do is, on top of this, I'm going to pour probably a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons on top for flavor. All right, maybe that was 3 tablespoons. My mother never measured it, so I'm following her. And so you give a little black cracked peppercorn, fresh ground black pepper, and then some ground sea salt, fresh ground sea salt. That's good. Then we're going to put our lid back on for a couple of more minutes. And what you're doing here is getting this cooked to your desired tenderness. And again, if you like it a little bit softer, then you cook it longer. If you like it a little bit more al dente or tender like I like it, you cook it less. And it depends on what your preference is. And actually, I put the heat up to probably not quite medium, but like maybe a third way. Hey, so we're back and we're in our kitchen here. Now, you see this? The broccoli rabe is pretty wilted. If you remember when we started out, the vegetables were piled up for the pot. And now they're wilted down. So the volume that we once had has now been wilted down. And what you want to do is give it a good turn with your tongs. And that's what you're shooting for. Now again, this is pretty al dente, but I probably will leave it on the stove for a few more minutes just to get it just right. This was a total cooking time so far of 10 minutes. And that might be a little too al dente for most people. I'll actually leave it on a few more minutes. And what you're striving for is tender and a slight bit of soft, but a crunchiness to it. I mean, but again, if you like it softer, do your thing with that. It's perfectly fine. There's no rules. There's no do's or don'ts with this. Oh, by the way, This is my favorite ingredient to add onto it. It is crushed red pepper, and it perfectly it's the perfect finishing seasoning for this. This looks really fantastic. The green, seasoned perfectly. It's a good side dish. It's a good main course, along with sausage. And if you're not doing low carb, dig in with your Italian bread and enjoy it. Let's see what's going on with this. If you haven't made broccoli rabe at home, get to it. What are you waiting for? It takes only a few minutes. As my Italian family would say, questa è saporito. It's delicious. It's been a pleasure as usual. Love seeing you guys. Hope to see you again in the next video. Thank you for stopping by. Over and out. Ciao for now. And I'll see you in the next one.